Polytechnic Teachers Association of Ghana have been on strike for nearly 4 months to demand payment of their book and research allowance. The strike is also against government's decision to replace the book and research allowance with a national research fund. Last week, the sole commissioner of the Judgment Debts Commission, Justice Yawapao, said it is time the government stop paying the salaries of workers who embark on strike for long periods. He said the payment of salaries to members of unions such as POTAG was a severe drain on the economy, which the government had to discourage. Openyi Obing Fosu is a labor expert. He has joined me over the telephone. We'll talk about the fate of our tertiary institutions over the next few minutes. Thank you very much, Openyi, for joining us here.
Thank you.
Openyi, there doesn't seem to be any end in sight as far as getting our lecturers back into the lecture theatres are concerned. POTAG and UTAG in view.
In fact, the POTAG case, I think the court has ordered that they should go for compulsory arbitration in accordance with the law. You see, they went on strike, and the Labour Commission wanted to enforce their law, but asking them to go back to work immediately. So
the concern, Openyi, the concern
Yes.
for POTAG has been the fact that the National Labour Commission, which is to begin this compulsory arbitration, has not done that. On the other hand, there have been calls that their salaries should be frozen. That is, government should not pay their salaries for as long as they are on strike. Having been at the NLC before, would it be illegal for the employer to take such a step, considering it is the NLC that has decided not to call for this compulsory arbitration according to POTAG?
You see, the problem is that the court declined, according to the court ruling, the court declined to enforce, to take action in accordance with what the Labour Commission wanted them to do, for them to resume work immediately. And the court said that because it's a dispute, it should be resolved, and ordered them to go for compulsory arbitration in accordance with the Labour Law Regulation 26 of the Labour Law, LI. And it is for the Labour Commission to call them for the compulsory arbitration. The compulsory arbitration members are members of the Labour Commission. You see? So if they are not going to do that, I don't know why the Labour Commission is not doing that. I'm not there now, so I don't know why they're not doing it, because we have 6 members, apart from the chairperson.
Okay.
2 each from each organization, employers, workers, and government. And the compulsory arbitration is made up of 1 member each from the government side, employer side, and worker side. And so if they are not going in accordance with the direction given by the ruling given by the court, then I think that the blame, I don't know, but the blame should be theirs, because the court said they should do it within 10 days from the day they gave the ruling. And I think the day they gave the ruling...
So, in other words, it would be wrong for the employer, in this case government, to want to freeze the salaries of POTAG members?
I think so. I think so. And I would advise the government to take advice from the Attorney General's Department. You see, because it is in the labor law that if you go on a strike which is unlawful, then you should not be paid, or you could even be dismissed. But when the court did not comply, did not agree with this in the Labour Commission to call off, to enforce the calling of the strike, and the court said that the court would decline to enforce it and would rather set it aside. here the court didn't say that their strike is lawful, though, but he said he has set it aside. And so what it means to me is that he has asked them to go for compulsory arbitration because when there is a strike, POTAG is not an essential service. But when there is a strike and it travels more than the 7 days, then they have to do compulsory arbitration. It is only the essential service people who have got compulsory arbitration, but because this one is a strike and it has gone beyond the 7 days, that's why the court was complying with the law. And the law said that if that happens, it should be compulsory arbitration. So I think now the ball is in the court of the Labour Commission to invite them for the compulsory arbitration.
I see. So then,
and so if they have not invited them, then to me, they have not. The POTAG people have not offended the law
at all. Now, on the other hand, we have UTAG towing the same lines.
Yes.
UTAG is also headed for court over the same issue. They are asking the government to put a perpetual injunction on government's intention to scrap the book and research allowance and replace it with the National Research Fund, because for them, government did not consult them, considering the book and research allowance is a condition of service. Here's what I want to understand from you as a labor expert. Okay, so employer-employee decide on conditions of service. When the employer wishes to change the conditions of service, within this context of UTAG, POTAG, and government as the employer, what are the appropriate ways of doing this?
The appropriate ways throughout the whole world is that if two parties contract an agreement and they want a change, they should wait until the due date for renegotiation. Or if they want it in time, one party could call the other party and sit down, because it is the two parties that contracted the agreement, and one party cannot do it unilaterally. If that is done, then there's no need for what we call collective bargaining, you see, or for agreement, because whenever there is agreement between two parties, it is the two parties that can put the agreement aside, not only one party. It will be unilateral, and that is from all. Because that is not what the ILO
I see.
wants.
So it was wrong for government to have taken the decision that it was going to scrap the book and research allowance and replace it with a National Research Fund without recourse to UTAG or POTAG or any of the teacher unions.
I would say that I would not say that it was wrong, but I would say that if they wanted to do that, they should not have done it unilaterally. If you do it unilaterally, then it's wrong. But if you say that and you call the other party and you sit, you can reach an agreement. You see, the thing is that it is wrong when you do it unilaterally. But if you think about this and you think that that is best for your view, in your view, then invite the other party to sit with you and convince that party to accept your proposal.
I see. So, Openyi, government will definitely need to find a way around this, considering the 2 weeks deadline or the 2 weeks window period it gave itself to deal with the Ebola scare is almost due, and students would have to go back to school. We need to find a solution to this. What will be your advice to government as an employer?
I would advise that the government should invite the parties involved to a meeting. You see, and in the case of POTAG 1, I think that direction has been done by the court. By the court asking them to go to compulsory arbitration. So once the court has asked them to go for compulsory arbitration, the Labour Commission, which is in charge of that sort of thing, should invite them, and then the Labour Commission should set up the panel to meet with them. You see, immediately, because I think, and again, in the case of the UTAG thing, you see, every agreement I know in labor relations, and I think in many other institutions too, in labor relations, any agreement has its operative date of operation taking effect and the date of expiry. You see, and if the expiring date has not come yet, you cannot change anything in it, except both of you agree that we would like to sit down, even though it's not time yet for it to expire. Let us sit down because of this or that or that. You see, and so what they have agreed in that agreement that is presently in existence should be used, and then they give notice that at the expiry date of this agreement, when we are going to renegotiate, we would want to do this, to do that.
I see.
And then they will also bring their proposal.
Absolutely. Openyi, thank you very much for your time.
Welcome.
Openyi Obinfosu is a labor expert. Now,